opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of the station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Hockey Show. I'm your host, Willie Plouffe. Once again, I'm with my winger, Gerald Haasbeek. Gerald, how are you today, buddy?
I'm pretty good. You, Willie?
You know, I'm doing good. Like last show, we had a great show about Ringette, and we talked about what's going on in hockey, and we got a great guest today. We got Peter Woods, Executive Director of Hockey Manitoba. The big kahuna's coming down.
Yeah, he's the big cheese for sure. And, you know, we're going to have some great questions to him, talk to him about, you know, some spring hockey schools, everything to do with hockey. You know, we got the big cheese to tell us everything about it. You know, we've had, from Hockey Manitoba, we had Bernie Reichert down, we had Kyle down, now we got, like we said, the big kahuna, and we're going to talk about, you know, the article that was happening in the Free Press about, you know, spring hockey, and also about that stuff that just happened down in East Selkirk. You know, parents and fans going a little bit too far. I think it was the incident happened in Southdale Arena, I believe, but yeah, it was an East Selkirk parent, and you know, we're just, you know, I think it's important that a lot of viewers want to know a little bit more about etiquette and proper, you know, conduct and stuff like that. And then, like I said before, about that spring hockey and, you know, hockey schools. We're entering, you know, the playoff aspect of hockey now locally. And, you know, people are playing in their summers, and what, you know, what's going on hockey-wise, or whether they should even be going for hockey schools, or what, you know, what are the determining factors and stuff like that. Yeah, you know, today's topic, like, a lot of great things happening, and you know, a great guest going to be talking about. He's been involved in hockey so much, that's why he's the Executive Director of Hockey Manitoba. And actually, you know, he played a lot of really good hockey himself. So we'll bring in Peter Woods after the break. We'll talk about Peter, you know, who is Peter Woods, all about Hockey Manitoba, talking about, you know, some of the good parents, some of the parents are going a little bit overboard, spring hockey, all that positive stuff, all that negative stuff. Is it for you, is it not for you? Right after this commercial break, we'll bring back Peter Woods, Fourth Line coming at you.
You don't need a media monkey to make healthy choices. Think for yourself. A message from Concerned Children's Advertisers.
Well, what a great day today at the Fourth Line Hockey Show. We're going to bring in Peter Woods from Hockey Manitoba, Executive Director. Come on in, Peter. Welcome to the Fourth Line Hockey Show.
Thanks, Willie. Thanks, Joe.
Peter, you know, like, before all our guests, we've always talked about, you know, before we get really rolling and hammer you some pretty good questions we want to ask and let everybody know, who is Peter Woods?
Well, you're looking at him. From Winnipeg, I've been involved in hockey most of my life. Had an opportunity to work at the University of Manitoba and come up through the minor hockey system in Winnipeg and junior as well. And worked at the university for, I think, 6 to 8 years. Went overseas for 10 years coaching and involved with the British Olympic Association and the national programs in the UK. Also worked in Norway and Sweden and back in Canada for the last 10 years.
Wow, how great is that? You know, Peter, we're going to get into some things. And how was working in the UK and that? How was it a lot of fun and, you know, interesting people out there?
Yeah, well, I had a pretty good handle on the language, so that was that was enjoyable. I can't say the same for Norway or Sweden, but I met a lot of good friends there. Had hockey certainly increased over the time period that I was there. It started off a little bit slow, but the time I left, it was very comparable to some of the top minor leagues that we have in North America.
Awesome.
And what years were you there, Peter, over in Europe?
I left here, I believe it was the fall of '91, and returned in 2001.
Came back 2001. Did you get involved in right now you're Executive Director of Hockey Manitoba. How did you come about that?
I guess just my ties with Manitoba. I was been involved in the programs, and there became an opening with that position, and they had contacted me to put my name forward, and we just went from there.
That's pretty good. Now, Peter, for, you know, us guys and for everyone out there, what is the Executive Director of Hockey Manitoba? You got a lot of things going on, like there's tons. Give us a couple pointers or what's going on with you in the day-to-day.
On a regular day-to-day basis, we have a staff of 7. We're looking at expanding that particular staff, and we have a very good group of people that work for us, certainly in the office there. We deal with anything from the entry-level programs for you know, 5, 6-year-old kids all the way up to senior hockey. We look after all our coaching programs, development programs, officials programs, and just working on the day-to-day activities administration for the sport of hockey.
How would you describe hockey in Manitoba right now? The health of hockey, is it growing? Is it plateaued? How are we doing here with hockey in Manitoba?
I think like everything in Manitoba, I think we're pretty consistent. Our registration numbers have been consistent over the last number of years. We've had a bit of a bump, I would say, in regards to the development of female hockey, and that's certainly progressed, and we've had some very good results at the national level, with a number of our players have gone on and had success at the under 18, under 22, and certainly at the senior level in the female hockey. Overall, I think you compare our numbers, we represent probably about 5% of the hockey population in this country, and I think we've done exceedingly well, certainly at both at the national level and the development of our coaches and people that have gone on to enjoy some success.
You know, it's been great seeing the Hockey Manitoba get bigger and bigger, and people involved, like male and female. The sport is getting bigger and bigger, and it's great. Peter, now for me, just because, say, I've coached a long time now, I'm a newbie coach. I need to take some programs. Do I go to Hockey Manitoba, check the website? I know the community center is going to guide me in the right direction, but also I can go to the website, right?
Well, you certainly can, and we have programs for that entry-level coach. It's a requirement that all coaches that enter our program have to take a certification program, whether that's, and you can enter at the level that you're coaching at, whether that's the initiation program or the coach-level program, intermediate, advanced. If you want to enter in as an elite level, you're coming off a program, maybe you've been involved in the game for a number of years as a player and want to enter at the elite level, you have that opportunity and don't necessarily have to come right through the system. So it's important. We believe that education is vitally important for all our coaches that are involved in our program, and there's not only opportunities through certification, but we also have a very strong mentorship program where a lot of our coaches will come through and have the opportunity to work with a mentor, or also come through and take some special league courses, whether that's skating, was puck control, shooting, or defensive team play. So we have a great deal to offer. Certainly that entry-level coach has the resources that are available through our website and through our coaching program.
Lots of good stuff there, Jerry.
Yeah, and as a hockey dad myself, I have two daughters, 7 and 10, playing hockey. What do you attribute that growth in women's hockey to? Where is that coming from?
Certainly, I think one of the things that's really kicked us off is 2007, where we hosted the Women's World Championships here in Manitoba, and also the success, I think, of our national program for the women's program has certainly put the women's program has highlighted that and put them in the limelight and the spotlight there. So I think those are factors that certainly contribute to the growth of women's sport, and also I think there's a stronger emphasis on female sports than there was maybe 20 or 30 years ago, and you'll see young females or young girls will get involved in all types of activities where you've seen certainly it's been kick-started with soccer, and there's a lot of girls that participate in those sports. So I think nowadays you look at whether you're a young male or a young female, there's opportunities that sports has available to you, whether that's hockey or with other sports.
Now also, Peter, there's so much going on with Hockey Manitoba and hockey in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Now being part of our kids, my kids being Hockey Manitoba, you just don't play for community center, you just don't play AA, AAA, you can also play for the elite provincial teams, right? Players can try out for their squads and get to travel and wear the big M on them and represent the province.
Oh, they certainly can, and we've had a number of players that have come through our programs, and we've enjoyed success the last few years. In 2007, both the male and the female captured silver medals at the Canada Games, and we've enjoyed success from on that. This past year, our under 18 female team had a silver medal, and probably we're the best team there. Unfortunately, just couldn't get the result that everyone was looking for, but some excellent players. We had a very strong coaching staff with Ashley Van Aglen leading the way there. Neil Chow was also involved with the program. So two coaches that have been involved and have been cornerstones of our program in Manitoba, and they have that opportunity to not only develop players in our province, but also to see the results of some great coaches that have come through our system.
Now, I recently read an article where you were referenced in it. It was talking about spring hockey. I personally found it a very interesting read. My family has owned Royal Sports for, since 1974, so I've seen the proliferation of hockey through just being a winter sport to spring, summer to 12 months, and, mixed feelings on it. And, I read that article, and there was, some families and, big sacrifices, big expense for hockey year-round. My girls, they play soccer. In the spring, they love their soccer. They don't have time for hockey in the spring. What's your feeling on that sort of situation?
I think it's important that we develop the long-term athlete development program where we expose players and kids to different type of activities. I think the value and the benefits of playing, whether that's soccer, volleyball, or an off-season sport, if they combine those particular sports, is the advantage that you get exposed to different types of coaching styles. That's certainly one distinct advantage there. Players that just participate in one sport, they become exposed to overuse injuries and also become a little bit bored sometimes of only participating in that one sport. I think I certainly grow up, although I'm certainly not authority because I'm talking to you guys and I'm not suiting up to play with the Jets tomorrow night, but I think there is a big advantage, I think, to playing in multiple sports that we don't see nowadays, and too often it's become driven by entrepreneurs, whether that's a full-time person that's looking after a hockey program, and you also see that in other sports where volleyball and soccer, there's making a 12-month commitment to that program. That might be fine when you get to be 15 or 16 years old, but kids that are making that investment in their time and energy and financially at 7 and 8 years old, I think is a little bit over the top.
I know from my experience that our boys have gone through the program, and we have our own program, but it's very, very low key. We're done by May, and our boys are baseball players. I also feel that they have to play those sports. If your guys getting tired of going to the rink or saying, do I have to go to practice because you're pushing them all year round, there's an issue. They got to do something else.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think one of the key parts of our program is, in the essential part of any type of youth program, is to have strong coaching, and that's the investment that you need to make in a program to have good quality coaches, because that person is going to have the direct impact on the player, whether he's going to have a positive experience or not. So it's important that we invest in coaches at all levels, whether that's hockey or whether that's another sport. But for kids that participate in sports, if they don't have that good coach, or they don't have that good positive experience, they're probably not going to stay involved in the program. You're talking about spring or summer hockey, you're talking about an elite group of kids and probably only 60 teams that we might have in Manitoba. So that 60 teams might represent 1,000 players. Well, our branch is looking after 30,000 of those. So it's, right now the summer programs and spring programs are not very heavily regulated. As they grow, and if they do grow, there's going to be some challenges there that they're going to have to be regulated, and players will be having to follow rules and restrictions that they might not be happy with.
I'll tell you something about spring hockey that kind of drives me nuts as a winter coach. Our kids, they show up wearing their stickers on their helmets, or they're all talking about their different teams they play on. What worse to break up a winter team, because some kids don't play it, some kids play it, and they got everyone in the change room talking a little bit about, let's play here, let's play there, not even focusing on the team they play on. How do you prepare as a coach? That's a distraction, Jerry.
Yeah,
sorry, Gerald.
Gerald, yeah.
I get to call him Jerry once in a while.
Yeah, I just think that, the spring hockey has a time and place, and I agree with Peter with the age group. I don't think my 7 or 10-year-old wants to play hockey 12 months a year, and meeting other kids in different sports and working different muscle groups, and just having fun outside. And hockey is a winter sport. Maybe as a hockey shop owner, it might not be my best call to say that, but at the end of the day, I think you'll have more fun in hockey if you leave it for a little bit in the spring or summer and then come back to it. But to each his own, I guess.
Each his own, and you know what? Let's remember, let's not push everybody too hard. You got to work hard, but you know what? If your kid doesn't want to go anymore, there's a problem. We're going to break off for the Culligan Tip of the Week, and the Culligan Tip of the Week is, air out your equipment. Last time we talked about your skates, clean your skates, but you know what Culligan man says? Air out your gear. Mom doesn't want to always wash it. That stuff gets stinky. Air it out. When we get back, right back with Peter Woods. Once again, back at Royal Sports Shop, and we're hanging here with Peter Woods, Executive Director of Hockey Manitoba. Johnny on the camera. Johnny's always looking good, taking care of the boys. Peter, before we went on camera, we talked a little bit about favorite teams, and you did mention you were a Habs fan.
Certainly am. Let's say. I'm certainly a Jets fan now, but Montreal would be my second favorite team.
Well, okay. You gotta go a little bit further than that, Peter. Come on, man. You gotta go. Someone mentioned you might have a chair from the Forum or something like that. Yeah,
I got a chair at my chair from the Montreal Forum when that came down probably 15 years ago or something. So I bought a chair online for $350.
Was that 350,000?
Not 350.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. We want to make sure everybody hears that properly, especially your wife. Now we want to make sure.
Well, you know, and I've known Peter for a long time, and you know, he's been very humble about his hockey past. He's coached, been involved in very high-level things, whether it be in Europe or over here in Canada. Peter, why don't you tell us maybe a good story, maybe whether it be funny or not, about, you know, a good experience you had with hockey?
Can't think of any that come to mind. I remember I was coaching the national team in the UK when we were on a training camp. I think we were in Austria, and I know where players had not the Cooperalls, but they had the pants you had to pull up over your girdles. And I remember one of our players drove in on the net, took a shot, and as he turned, his lace broke and his Cooperall slid right down to his ankles, and he had to shuffle his way all the way back to the bench there. There hadn't been a whistle as of yet, and I called a couple of guys to take the guy that was coming off the ice, and they were bent over laughing, and we had to end up playing shorthanded for a bit there because we couldn't get our players on the ice. So fortunately, we managed to get a whistle and get the player off the ice and fix his equipment. So it worked out okay.
So the British fans, were they calling it a girdle, like a female girdle, or?
Who would think that from that day on, half the kids in Winnipeg would wear their pants like that, walk around downtown? Yeah. You know, it's just the way it is. Like, here we go. And it all started with Peter coaching down overseas. Peter, we talked about your favorite team. Now give us your favorite player, buddy.
I got to go with Bill Collins.
Bill Collins. I thought.
I think I'd probably go with Guy Lafleur. Actually, Bill Collins were number 10 before Guy Lafleur did. So he's the guy that I think jumps out at me. I know a good friend of mine, Paul Friesen, was a big Bruin fan there, and I took great delight in Montreal having a 26-year winning streak over the Boston Bruins. I think I'd probably busted in the early 90s.
Well, again, we're approaching playoff time, and people are thinking about their summer plans. And there's a lot of, you know, summer hockey, spring summer hockey. I think most of them are in July and August summer hockey programs. You know, a lot of parents out there thinking, you know, should I, shouldn't I? What criteria should I look at? Do you have any advice for the parents picking a spring or summer hockey school?
I think one of the things that you need to look at is, one is how long that school's been around. I mean, if the test of time, if that program's been around for a while, it's probably a pretty reputable school. I would ask friends, people that maybe have attended that program in the past, to see what their feedback is. I think you also need to look at the student-instructor ratio. If the instructor-student ratio is fairly low, I think that's very positive. And what you're getting for that. I make comparisons for how long the player is on the ice, how long he's off the ice, because the most important part of any hockey program is how much time the player is actually going to spend on the ice.
Yeah, I think that's pretty key. Like, you know, making sure that there's enough players, coaches to, you know, look at the kids. I think Hockey Manitoba, when you're coaching that, when you're doing your plans, now you want, I think the ratio is 1 coach to 5 players, somewhere around there, and working on that. We do that as coaching, and that's most important. So everyone's getting a bang for the buck, right? You can't have them stand still, and you can't have them not listening to you. Very important.
Well, I guess at the end of the day, there's a lot of different criteria, and you know, it should be fun too, right? At the end of the day, you know, the NHL is a pretty exclusive club for players, coaches, and everybody, and hockey should be about fun and, you know, going with friends and learning some skill development, obviously all that other stuff, but having fun too at the end of the day.
I think that's key. You know, you want to come back, and you know what? The kids want to go back, and if they're having fun, that's the key to the whole thing. Now, Peter, we want to talk a little bit about Hockey Manitoba. They have a pretty good adult tournament coming up, don't they? Yeah, we do. We have an adult tournament that'll happen in April. It's an excellent tournament. It's grown to about 100 teams there, so it's probably be recognized, if it isn't, one of the biggest adult rec tournaments in North America. So pretty excited about that. You know, Scott Furman and Kyle Prstupa, who look after that in our office, do an excellent job of coordinating that. We have a number of different divisions. We also have a division for female. So it's grown from 25, 30 teams in over 4 years, and now we're approaching 100 teams. That's pretty sweet. Now, see if I don't have a team to be on, and I just want to play some hockey. And is there teams that are looking for guys, or can we go on the Hockey Manitoba website and maybe call down the Hockey Manitoba and they can guide someone who's looking to get on a team?
Yeah, unfortunately, most of the teams are entered as full teams, but there are spots that would be available, and certainly you can contact our office, or look on our website there with the opportunity that could be placed on an individual team. But it's an excellent opportunity. It's a great weekend. We certainly have some good sponsors that are involved in that. Certainly with Labatt's and the Free Press, and certainly Tavern United and Canadian. So I got those plugs in there, so I'm happy with that.
Well, I'll tell you, they all got good wings and good beer there, and it doesn't change, Gerald. Like, from when you're a little guy, little girl, all the way up, the key is having fun. We still play rec hockey because we have fun. We leave at 10 at night to go and come home at, well, I'll say 11:30, and we get to go to work tomorrow, and that's the way it is, and that's why we play hockey.
Well, if anybody has seen Willie play, we know it's for fun only, because he rarely lights the lamp. Maybe when you crawl around, hey?
There's been some issues with me putting the puck in the net, but you know what? This year I'll be putting some more in. Don't worry about that.
So let's go a little more serious now. And we're all hockey parents, all three of us, and everyone's passionate about their kids, and sometimes that passion takes it to a new level, and sometimes an inappropriate level. And there was a recent incident that happened that I think it was at Southdale Arena, and it's gone national, even international, and what's the proper conduct? Where's the line for parents when it comes to watching their kid play hockey, Peter?
Well, I think the number one thing that we have to look at, we need to be respectful for everyone that's associated with the game. That's certainly the players, that's the other coaches and the game officials and the people that are sitting in the stands watching that game. It's a bit bizarre for me. I don't quite grasp or understand why people are a little bit over the top. I do understand that is an emotional game and people get a little excited out there, but I think we need to ensure that to keep it in check. And for the majority of the people that are watching those games are watching youth hockey, whether that's the officials or whether that's a 9 or 10-year-old out there. And we've got to remember that those are just kids. And if we want to be strong role models, it's important that we are respectful and we do follow the rules and we keep our comments to ourselves.
I agree with you 100%, even 110%. I have a problem with the people jumping on the refs. You got the young kids doing, young players, which is good we need refs to play, and then you got these people in the stands yelling at these young bucks, boys and girls, just freaking out on them. Who would want to go back to that abuse? No one wants to be treated like that. Man, like dummy up people.
Well, I think part of the problem is we look at professional hockey and professional refs, and they understand that part of the job is they're going to be criticized by people in the stands, people watching it at home or whatever. But when you're talking about a ref, they make mistakes. It's human nature, and for anybody to yell and scream at a ref in a minor hockey situation, I think it's pretty extreme.
I think it goes, way over the top, Even the fat part, just that recent incident that's going on, was all over the news like we just talked about. You know what? We're not going to criticize anybody, but man, you got to keep it in check. Like, honestly, the way I look at things when I'm doing it is I'm coaching we had some incidents where, the players on the ice are watching you. How is your 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, or 14-year-old looking at you, and that's dad or mom in the stands getting in a fight? Like, that can be traumatic for the player.
Oh, it certainly can, and I'll echo Gerald's statements there regarding the officials, and I'm sure Barry Trotz is not too happy these days, and the offside goal that he scored the other night, and sometimes those do happen, and you see the mistakes are even happening at elite levels and the top level of the sport. Well, and they have years and years of training behind them, so it's only understandable that players that are just being introduced or young officials that are being introduced to the game are going to be exposed to some level of stage. But I think it's the responsibility of the people that are watching those games and parents to ensure that they are good role models and to support those officials, because without those officials we're going to have a tough time having games on a regular basis.
Unbelievable. Even in the fans, we're sitting here now. I've heard 4 crazy stories since Christmas. Before even this incident happened, like other stories where, grandparents fighting with the other team's grandparents. The mom's getting into it. It's kind of, I think that's a show on our own. We can go reality show just watching the fans.
And this is just your own personal family here.
No. We got that's a Plouffe household going wild.
Yeah, no. And, I don't think I think it's a small exception, but, it's highlighted with today's technology. You can take a picture or, video camera, anybody, and doing these silly things. So, but, if someone wanted to become a ref, what are the steps? What are the age categories? Tell us a little bit about that, Peter.
We have officials clinics that are offered at the early part of every season. It's important that every official that participates in our program has to come through an official program, take a course. They get training. They're monitored throughout the years. They are usually paired when they're on the ice with an older official to develop their particular skills. It is difficult. A lot of the officials do not return. There's a high turnover for officials, so it's important that we are supportive as we possibly can. And there's different officiating courses they can take throughout the year or throughout the summer period, but it is difficult. We understand that and accept that, but it's just part of the game.
Part of the game, and before we go a little bit further, and I just want to make sure, we can't let the negatives take over the positive. There's a lot of great people out there, a lot of great fans, and hockey is top dog. And you know what? Let's keep up all the really good positive stuff that's happening in Hockey Manitoba, all over the hockey, all over. We got a lot of great fans and passionate people.
Absolutely, yeah. Not to, we're talking about one thing because it's top of mind right now. It's top of the news. But the benefits of hockey, and maybe I'll get Peter to elaborate. What do you think are the biggest benefits of getting your kid involved in hockey, and why, if you got a newborn, why should you get your son or daughter involved in hockey?
I think there's some distinct advantages of being involved in any type of sport, certainly with a team sport. And number one is it's an opportunity, I would think, for social interaction, where you have that opportunity to participate, share time with some kids that are your particular age group. I think that's important. We also developed too, is you develop some strong life skills, whether that's cooperation, that's teamwork, that's working together as a unit. I think that's very valuable. There's also opportunities that there might be down the road to stay involved in the particular sport, and to develop some leadership skills amongst all our athletes. So the advantage is, myself personally, just exposed to the social aspect of the game. Probably 90% of the people that I have in my life right now, I've met, or there's been the connection through sports, whether I coach the players, whether I played against them, whether they're parents or whatever. But the common denominator there is sport.
Being part of something, being part of a group, right? Going to practice, it's a unity. It's so much fun being part of all that. And it doesn't have to be hockey, it's any sport. Being part of what you do as a coach or a manager or a player, it's top, Gerald.
Absolutely. I echo the same thing Peter just said. I've been involved in hockey my entire life, right? Whether it's selling it, but I still play. I've never spent a winter not playing hockey. And almost all my friends, maybe 95% of my friends, are through hockey. And just meeting parents with having children and the whole social atmosphere of it, I think, can't be understated how important that is.
Well, you just got to go down to the Forks and go to the rinks, check all the kids playing, check all the different ethnic families playing. It's huge. So, people come over this way and get involved in hockey. And Hockey Manitoba has a program, a little bit helping all people who want to get involved with hockey.
Certainly, we have a number of different programs, and we've introduced a program this year, Just Play program, where we're exposing the game or introducing the game to maybe disadvantaged youth, or maybe not have that financial opportunity to participate in the game. We've provided them through association or with Reebok. We've provided some of those players with equipment. We've also had the opportunity to offset some of their registration costs so they can enjoy the game, and hopefully they'll continue to be involved in our sport.
Before we go to the straight quote of the day, it's important for parents to know that there are programs out there. If you feel that you can't afford to play hockey, I say BS. Get involved. Talk to the right people. Someone's going to help you out and get your child involved in hockey. It's a great sport. Joe, what do you got for the Ice Traders quote of the day?
Quote of the day. Oh, you just threw this one at me.
I did. That's what I love about it coming at you.
This is one my dad said, and I don't. As a coach, I don't think I'd ever say it, but you can't score any goals from the corner, Gerald. So he said, "Don't go in the corners."
We'll be right back with Peter Woods right at you.
Everybody needs a helping hand. Take a look at your fellow man and tell me what can I do? What can I do today?
Courtesy. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Today is a great show. We had Peter Woods in from Hockey Manitoba, Executive Director. Peter, we want to thank you for coming down to the Fourth Line Hockey Show at Royal Sports Shop. Jill, what a great guest.
Oh, unbelievable. Peter shed a lot of light on, what Hockey Manitoba is all about, and some good tips for parents,
most important that we talked some issues, right? There's some hockey issues going on there, and also what Hockey Manitoba provides. Next week, we're going to have a great show once again, talking about the issues, what's going on in community hockey. Keep it going. See you next week.
The opinions expressed on the program you have just watched are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of this station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.